Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, Scene Leader 13, and today we are about to get underway for the second of 11 races for SEC's Monthly Endurance Championship. About a month ago, we went ahead and went through the Daytona event where they were kind enough to let me cover the first stint in that race. Now we're going to be covering the first two out of the three stints today. It will be a different driver who will be, a different person will be stepping in to cover the third stint later on. But as we prepare to get underway for this event, should be aware that there are some interesting things that have happened on Forza's side, which has kind of upset and destabilized things. Normally qualifying sessions for these events are done on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and Fridays. But due to some connectivity issues and instability over the last few days, some drivers had to go for private practice sessions and private qualifying sessions. There's not a pre-race practice for this event, and they're hoping to only have to launch with a single time. But real quickly, let's look at some of the drivers who are going to be partaking in today's event. P1R Turk is going to be in the BMW. TNR Glizzy is in the number 50, I believe this is the 55 Audi. JSR Ash is in the 212 Mercedes. JSR Craviator is in the number 3 Mercedes. NDL Arduino is in the number 66 Ford GT. Arlide is in the 727 Mercedes. Leechard is in the 64 McLaren. NDL Beats is in the number 75 Porsche. TNR Hillbilly is in, I believe that is the number 10 Audi. ESL Decoy is in the number 1 Mercedes. P1R Alto is going to be in the number 8 Mercedes. RX FFEX is going to be in the McLaren. I don't think that's the actual paint they use, right? I think that's the stock paint that's just not properly loaded. NDL Hot Pockets is going to be in the number 51 BMW. NDL Dindu is going to be in the number 50 Ferrari. HYR Freitas is going to be in the McLaren. I cannot see the paint on that car, sadly. ESV Green is going to be in the number 38 Mercedes. TNR Surf is going to be in the Audi. NWR Bradders is going to be in the 808 Mercedes. NWR Silentel is going to be in the other number 1 Mercedes. I wonder if there was some sort of hiccup there that's causing that issue. And NDL Avocado, who's just jumped into the lobby right now, it says he's in the Chevrolet. I would not be surprised if that ends up getting changed in the next few minutes though. But one of the things, if you are not aware of the way the SEC is, it is a series of 11 different endurance races running from January to November. So once a month. This month they are going to be at Silverstone as we're preparing to load onto the circuit proper. I'm going to try and knock out a ad break now so I can give you as long of a run in race as possible. But if it won't let me do that, well, I'll just keep talking now. No, it will not. Okay, well. Struggles of being monetized on Twitch, I guess. Sani has just joined the group, and Zani is going to be in, it looks like, another Mercedes. I expect to see that change. But yeah, so in each and every single one of P1R's Enduro for the SECs, you are required to have 3 different drivers. So all these drivers you see here will not be in the next stint. They will be in different drivers will be in their cars in the following stint. So keep an eye on that, because drivers who may be really, really good in stint 1 may not necessarily be so good and high performing in stint 2. The other thing is that they will take a little bit of time to get everyone nice and ordered up, but for the most part, they are expecting that we shouldn't have to spend a lot of time struggling with getting things going. The other thing to consider in today's event, and with all SEC events, is that we do not have to do what Tora does, where they only run an hour and 40 minutes of the full time. They go the entire 2 hours of the 2-hour stint, and they go off of what Forza says afterwards. You are encouraged, from what I understand, to go ahead and share information if you are, whether it be through pics or videos, if you are under the belief that the game has given incorrect information, incorrect data. But that is the way that these guys go ahead and run things. So we are not looking at only an hour and 40 minutes. We are looking at a solid 2 hours of racing, and really it's going to be a solid 4 hours of racing. For those of you who may be interested, assuming everything works out, I should also be here next month. Well, potentially I should be here next month. It's going to come down to if I end up doing P1R or Tora, and if P1R ends up pushing their Enduro off a week or ahead a week. But I will be covering one of the Sebring Enduros next month. Also next week, I'll likely be covering part of the Bathurst 12 hour that IFEA is doing as well. But right now, our focus is here. We've seen some of these drivers before in some other series that we've covered, such as NDL Avocado or NDL Didn't Do or H-Wire Fritas. We've seen some drivers here put on some respectable runs or have some very familiar names, the JSRs, TNRs of the world. P1R Turk is your lobby host. I do want to give a quick shout and thank you to him for helping get me set up and get everything running in this event. I'm glad to be here to cover this. It looks like we have 22 drivers currently in the lobby, although there may be time to wait for one or two more to show up. But as far as I understand, it looks like we're going to be looking at a 21 driver lobby. I have to remember I can't include myself, so we're looking at a 21 driver lobby for this. All GT categories, 11 different manufacturers in SEC series. Honestly, I think that's one of the big appeals, although in my opinion, it also means I have a lot of sympathy for the officials. And if someone comes out and says, hey, look, the cars aren't balanced one way or another, in this series more than any other I've been involved in, whether as a driver or a official or as a broadcaster, I feel a lot of sympathy for all the officials who absolutely have to struggle to make sure everything is balanced. So everything seemed to be in relatively good order. At Daytona, it seemed like there it was more of a tire thing that came into play than anything else, tire strategies. And speaking of tire strategies, we are only on fuel and tires damage when it comes to simulation, but the tire wear is at 2.5x the normal rate. So they're basically running on cheese on top of a cheese grater-like track. Now, mind you, the rate, the in-game timescale is apparently at X4, which I didn't realize that was the case. But the time progression is X4. So with that in mind, it's going to seem like, compared to this time in-game, the tires are going a lot longer. But when it comes to actual real-life time, the tires are going to be falling off very, very aggressively out here. Still standing by to load onto the circuit proper here right now. And for anyone who is concerned, yes, this will go live on YouTube about 2 to 3 days after it is done here. That's part of Twitch's requirements, is that broadcasts that you monetize broadcasts that you have on Twitch you're required to wait a few days before you put them on YouTube proper. So oh, here we go. All right, and now we have loaded onto the track proper. It'll take just a little bit of time to make sure that everyone is in the proper grid order here. Just keep that off for the moment. I do want to have the map on though, as the field is very quickly trying to get themselves ordered up. And it looks like, unless I am seeing this wrong, it looks like it is going to be JSR Ash, who is going to be, well, it's either going to be Ash or Green, one of these two. Maybe it's Green, who's going to be starting here on the first place position. Again, single file start. There is no doubling up or anything like that. It's going to be single file there does seem to be a little bit of confusion when it comes to everyone in the back half of the field right now. I have to wonder if that's just not really an issue on the drivers or officials. It just may be a matter of making sure you're not all pounding into each other at pace. There's 2 drivers left on the grid. Okay, so as I was saying, it looks like it's going to be ESV Green, who is going to be your pole sitter, followed by JSR Ash, NDL Beats, NDL Avocado, and Arlid. After that will be JSR Crave Eater in 16, our Surf in 17, our Hillbilly in 8, NDL Didn't Do in 9th, and 10th will be ESL Decoy, 11th will be NWR Bradders, 12th will be NDR Ardino, 13th will be SR Zerani, 14th will be Hot Pockets, 15th will be Arflex, 16th will be Silent L, 17th will be Glizzy, 18th will be Turk, 19th will be Alto, 20th will be Fritas, and 21st will be Leechard. As we watch the field run down through the Sector 1, not really an outright chicane, but sure does feel like a chicane most of the time. As everyone is lined up, we should have tires warmed up. Ash is already pulled alongside Green, which, that's not supposed to happen. I wonder if Ash is just trying to do some shenanigans to get into ESV Green's head. But as they go down the first straightaway, they accelerate after they go underneath the bridge, and we are underway for Stint 1 here of SEC's Silverstone Enduro, and already we are having fights for positions in the top 5 positions. Arlide, Craviator, neck and neck as they come out of this sweeping hairpin. The Mercedes has moved up a position at the behest of another Mercedes, so Arlide up into 5th already as Craviator slips back to the 6th position. But at the front, Green, Ash, and then Beats is a little bit farther back. Green, Ash, Beats, I guess that's what we're going to be calling it. They are the ones at the head of the field. We're going to wait a few laps to see what the tire fall off is looking like. But with the increased tire fall off, if you're on the soft tires, you want to make as many moves and get into clean air as fast as possible. But right now, it is Green who is at the top with Ash tucked up right behind. Beats runs just a little bit farther back than that, but he's got the draft off both of them as Ash coming around the outside of Green. He's got the front bumper about an inch ahead, but he has to brake early so he doesn't go off track. That lets Green take a wider exit. Now Green goes to the top, but Green's already got a time penalty, and now Ash is coming by. He's going to be on the inside, which will be the outside going into the chicane. A little bit of contact, he gets hip checked by Green and now loses position. NDL Beats, and Beats now moves up in the 2nd position right behind ESV Green. And out of the final corner, the top 5, you can throw a blanket on them with how close they all are. Green leads, Beats has a run in the Porsche to the inside. Side by side to turn 1, but Green has to pull ahead. Beats pulls out of it, and now Ash is trying to come back to make a move. The thing is that Green already has a little bit of a distance penalty. That was one of the other big differences that separate this from one of your more common enduros like Tora. You're not looking at time penalties or anything like that. You're looking at distance penalties. And as far as I'm aware, all of the in-game distance penalties do hold up at the event end. Green holds the top position, followed by Beats, Ash, and now Airlade, who started 6th, has already worked his way up into 4th in just a single lap. Some incredible driving by him, but Mercedes right now seems to be the dominant manufacturer here in the early few moments of our first stint here. Green continues to hold station over NDL Beats. Ash is right behind Airlade, trying to get alongside Ash, but it's just a little bit too tight there. Car gets really squirrely going over the curves on the outside onto the mini straight, coming up into a near 90-degree corner. Ash is tucked up behind Books, not able to make a move. Both 2nd and 3rd slide a little wide. Green fires out of that corner and opens up the gap on 2nd place. Ash trying to get a run on Beats, can't make it stick. So German manufacturers right now absolutely destroying the field at the British circuit. Beats is all sorts of sideways with the Porsche, going through Maggots and Beckett's. It lets Ash get right underneath him as they shoot out of the series of S's and onto the longest straightaway on the track. Beats is already opening the gap and pulling away from Ash. Ash is going to have to deal with Airline right behind. So already it looks like green is starting to pull away just a little bit from NDL Beats. Ash slides wide, Air Lead slides wide. So the last race we have is at Daytona, and there's really not a lot of opportunities to end up with distance penalties at Daytona unless you're being really, really hyper aggressive going to the bus stop. Here, almost every corner has an issue, and we have a fight for the lead. It looks like green has given up way too much time this time by going into the final chicane. It's let the Porsche pull alongside again for the second lap in a row, but this time it's Beats who fires up on the inside, and coming out turn 1 and through turn 2, Beats now is in the lead over ESV Green. How quickly the turntable, and now Air Lead has already made his way up into the 3rd position, but then loses it right afterwards as Ash defends. Ash sees a little bit of weakness from Green and wants to pounce. But right now we have German manufacturers in the top 5 positions. A Porsche led by 3. Oh, and that's Ash! And Ash is around! Ash is spinning after he's gone around off the front bumper of Air Lead. And the 212 machine has had a big spin. Incredible drama for one of our top contenders, one of our fastest drivers out here, and already he has fallen back to 13th position, and he has to feel incredibly lucky and incredibly fortunate that he didn't dig in, he didn't take any speed into the grass, that didn't dig in and roll the car, but he is able to continue in 13th. As we do run with fuel and tires, not some damage, he should be able to continue without issue. But that has changed the dynamic of stuff at the front, because Beats and Green still 1st and 2nd, but Surf in the Audi has now moved up into the 3rd position. So Surf with the Audi is the 3rd different German manufacturer in the top 3 positions. So it is Porsche, then Mercedes, then Audi, and it is Dindu, who is in the number 50 Ferrari, who now finds himself up in 4th as Air Lead has slipped back to 5th after that contact that he had with JSR Ash. That also is going to put some nasty wear on Ash's tires as well, and might end up compromising any tire strategy he may have had. Also, it's a bit of a gap back. The top 5 are kind of in a zone of their own, but look at this. This is the lone Ford GT entry in today's race. Indiel Ardno is having their fight with Air Lead, as Air Lead has really shown some weakness. He's now slipping back, so Ardno now moves up into the 6th position here. Meanwhile, at the top, well, not at the top, but close to the top, ESV Green trying to keep TNR Surf and NDL didn't do behind. And you'll see them, the entire lead group, as they come into these not quite chicane, leads into a hairpin, just an absolute mess of a series of corners here. Green tries to cut down on Surf. Surf gets his momentum killed, but there's no room for Dindu to really capitalize. So while Beats is scooting away at the head of the field, Green is suffering, dealing with the Audi, the TNR eSports machine, tucked up right behind. Big slide by the Ferrari just back there. I don't think Dindu has the pace to keep up with these two, but as long as these two are fighting, he will continue to stay there and hang out. But when it comes to overall pace, it is still early to say. We've not even done a full 10 minutes of racing, but I don't know if Dindu has the pace to really make moves on them on sheer merit. He needs them all a bit tucked up on top of each other, be compromising each other's lines for him to really do anything about it. Surf right now holds into 3rd. Can't really seem to do anything to Green at the moment. And that is Air Lead, who has gotten back into the 5th position. So after that contact he's had earlier, he has rebounded and is now trying to close in on this fight for a second. Speaking of which, the Audi lunges to the inside of Green. A little bit of contact. Surface sideways. Dindu now fires up on the inside. How deep does the Ferrari push into the chicane? He's sideways. The car twitching under braking. He's got the car about a half the car length ahead of the Audi. And around the outside, can Dindu complete the overtake? Not quite. He's not got it yet. But Dindu does have the draft, and now he'll complete it on the start-finish line. Straight. Surf loses the position to Dindu. So now the Ferrari moves up into the 3rd position, and it's his turn to try and make something happen on ESV Green. And he's going to want to make it happen fast, because Surf may still have the ability to fight back real aggressively. Oh, gets hit square in the rear bumper by the Audi, and look at this. Air Lead is already back. Meanwhile, as opposed, JSR Ash has only recovered to 12th position after that spin earlier. Down the first of the two back straightaways, Dindu gets right under the rear wing of that number 38 Mercedes, but he slides a little wide on exit, trying to square up the run into the hairpin. A little bit of bumper-to-bumper contact on the way out. This straightaway and the corner at the end of it is not really ideal for overtaking, but if you're bold enough, if you're brave enough, you might be able to make something of it. Dindu's still tucked up behind. Does he make a move? No, the rear end of the car slides out under him. Now open the gap up. Yes, a touch between himself and Green. Now he'll use the draft close right back in on Green as we go into Maggots and Beckets. All the while, Beats has completely vanished up the road, but Green holds on to second. Second through fifth all on top of each other in a perfect little draft train at the moment, but no one's close enough to make a move in the top 5 positions for now. Dindu trying not to slide too wide. You don't want to get distance penalties. That would be such a killer. Dindu hits Green in the back going into the final chicane. Tucked up on top of him still. It does seem like Dindu may not be fast over the majority of the circuit, but he does seem to have that Ferrari very well hooked up at the end of Sector 3. He lets him pull right underneath Green's rear wing again as they shoot off into turn 1. Big slide by Green farther up. But not enough. There it is. Yes, he slid again as he tried to open the line to get into the corner, and that was perfect by Dindu. He knew that the Mercedes was going to go wide. He tucked onto the tighter inside line. It scared the Mercedes driver off, and Dindu now moves his way up into second, and now Green finds himself under pressure from the Audi of Surf once again. But Dindu now has to start running, because if these two drivers behind are able to sort their stuff out pretty quickly, they may be able to run Dindu down on merit. Dindu tried to pull up a little bit of a gap out right now. It's not happened yet, but that Mercedes of ESV Green is really sliding all over the place. The rear tires just do not seem to be maintaining traction. And if you look at the tire wear, 33 to 34%. So we know that ESV Green is dealing with some significant tire fall off at this stage of the event. In fact, at the end of this lap, we'll go ahead and take a quick look at everyone's tires in the top 10 or so to really get an idea. So we get a top 10. JSR Ash has now recovered up into the 10th position. Big twist by the Ferrari of Indiel Dindu, and that lets Green close back in just a little bit here. Does Green have the straight line speed to try and make a run on the Ferrari at the end of the straight? The top, well, second through fifth, all on top of each other, even closer this lap than they were last time. Heavy under the brakes. The Mercedes lunges, gets really, really close. Almost under the Ferrari's rear wing, but can't get alongside. Does he make a dive going into the chicane? It has been the section where the Ferrari has been stronger than him at. Dindu leaves about half a car width open, but that's just not enough to get alongside safely. But Green will not let the Ferrari get too far ahead. A little bit of a twitch and a slide by the Ferrari out of the final corner. The Mercedes has a run. Does he make a move to the inside turn 1? Oh, he looks. He gets alongside. Side by side for second once again. The Mercedes will complete the overtake on the outside, and now Surf from the Audi will try and do the same, but on the inside, which turns to the outside turn 3. He can. That leaves him open now to attack from Airland, and there's Arnaud in the Ferrari. Second is not done with yet. ESV Green may have gotten the position back for now, but Dindu is not done with him yet. I keep thinking, I'm going to check these guys' tires. I'm going to check these guys' tires, but they keep getting so aggressive with positions, and these spots just swap basically lap after lap after lap, it feels like. I don't really have a chance to calm down and start talking strategy. I have to talk about where everyone's actual position is on the track right now. Big twitch by both Green and Dindu. This will be great for Surf. Surf will have a good run out of here. But do you want to go side by side on this straightaway? Do you want to go side by side to that 100-degree corner afterwards? I don't know. That's a risky venture to take, to say the least. Right on board with Arnaud, who is in 6th position. As second through 6, all now tucked up on top of each other, pretty much in a line. Arnaud gives Airlid a little bit of a touch in that left rear corner panel. Surf trying to get alongside Dindu on the run out of Maggots and Beckets a little bit farther up. Big slide by several cars in this big pack. and it looks like Green might finally be opening the gap just a little bit here. Yeah, Green is absolutely pulled away from Dindu after the run through Maggots and Beckett's this time. That seems to be where the Ferrari is showing some weakness, and there's some more weakness. Big twitch by the Ferrari. He's coming into the pits. And look at that, 67% tire wear. So Dindu obviously on the soft tires for the very first stint of the event. Oh, and Beats is in the pits as well. Dindu pitted, so it's going to be Surf who's pitted as well. Green stays out, so we are in the first round of pit stops already. And ESV Green goes to the top. NDL Beats now inherits the second position, but only on pit lane. The actual second place driver is NWR Bradders, followed by ESL Decoy, and then NDL Beats. No, it's going to be RXFFEX. So the first set of pit stops have been done. And looking at the drivers who stayed out, 43% for a fourth place driver right now. Green, who is in first, is at 45% on that left rear. NWR Bradders, his tire wear, 48%, but that's on the left front. A bit of an interesting change. ESL Decoy, who runs in third right now, 47% on the left rear. And then NDL Beats, who has just come out of the pit lane with new fresh tires in that Porsche. He opened up that big gap earlier, and now he's going to have to actually deal with overtaking drivers. Porsche slides a little wide as he's trying to really quickly get some heat into those tires here. But he's now going to have to deal potentially with some actual traffic. This is sixth place Silent L, 47% on that left front, so the left side tire is going to be taking a lot more abuse today. Craviator runs in seventh right now, just ahead of the McLaren, and Craviator is at a 34%. So I have to wonder if it's Craviator on hard tires. Is he going for a strategy that lets him go really, really aggressive on minimizing stops, trying to minimize the amount of time spent on pit lane? 49% for Freitas right now. And then Ardno, who was your Ford GT driver, he is already up into 6% tire wear, so I think this Ford GT is on soft tires again, trying to make a big run, but they are tucked up side by side ahead of him. Not really any room for him to get alongside, and he's got Surf and the Audi tucked up right behind. This is going to be really frustrating for this duo because the two cars ahead are fighting for position between each other. They're not encouraged to just move over. Oh, and that's a big stack up. That's about 9th all the way to 12th. All got nose to tail with each other. Surf gets alongside Ardno. Audi versus Ford coming out of the final corner. Big twitch by the McLaren, and the McLaren goes off. And that's Freitas, who slides off just ahead of this fight. And now Airlid has also gotten by Ardno as well. And TNR Surf is, I think, on strategy, now in the second position. Third position, actually. Green did stay out. But ESV Green and NDL Beats on two radically different strategies right now. Big slide by Ford GT farther back. Surf has a run on Craviator, going around the outside. All this fighting with traffic. We're on older tires, but still on the lead lap is going to really slow this bunch of cars up. And for drivers like Green and Beats, this is the best thing that can happen unless the two of them just kind of run their own strategies and try to pull away from the rest of the field. They're 3 wide farther back, and that Mercedes is all over the place, losing a huge chunk of time. And Ardno now already up into what would be 4th overall, I believe. But Airlid is not done. They will be side by side in the following corner. The Mercedes, how aggressively does he paint it on the outside? He can't. He runs way off circuit just to try and fall in line. I wonder if he got any time penalties from that. Ardno does have a bit of a time penalty himself, but no, it does not look like Airlid got any sort of time penalty from sliding wide in the corner. Now he is trying to follow the Audi of Surf once again, and Surf is going to be closing on traffic in the form of Silent L, but not anytime soon. If Ardno has a good run, he can try and make this move stick now. Down the back straightaway, this is where you'll get your top speed for all of your cars in any series here. Bradders and Decoy are fighting. Well, no, I'm sorry. Several of our drivers who have not yet pitted in the top positions now have made their stops. One of them appears to be RFFX. Another one is Bradders. So Green, Decoy, Beats are now your top 3. The Audi seems to be very, very stable going through the final chicane. And the Ford seems to be struggling just a little bit. The 422 Noodle machine looking desperately to try and figure out a way to get alongside the Audi. Lost that position due to a bit of a stack up on track earlier. But it looks like this group is starting to single file out just a little bit. I think pace is going to be the big thing that dictates everything now. The big thing, of course, is going to be that Surf has to get by this man here, Silent L, who has yet to make his first stop. 59% tire wear on that left outside. Oh my goodness, you can see how much he's just not able to hold onto the track. And some of the tighter corners, gets hip checked by the Ford and gets knocked into the dirt. He'll lose several positions and a huge chunk of momentum in the process. Avocado goes by, Hillbilly goes by, Didn't Do goes by, a chunk of drivers go by. I don't imagine Silent L is going to be happy with that at all. Meanwhile, NDL Beats has also already dispatched of ESL Decoy. As we look, our leader, ESV Green, still has yet to make his first stop, but he has opened up a massive gap over the Porsche of Beats. And as I say that, Green is coming into the pit lane right now. ESL Decoy, who runs in third position, also has yet to make his first stop. 63% wear on that rear set of tires. That has got to be feeling absolutely horrendous right now. But now, with that in mind, everyone in the top 10 except for this man here, Silent L, has made, well, no, that's Craviator, has made their first pit stop, and Silent L looks like he is coming into the pits this time by. But this also means that NDL Beats will go back to the top of the order by a respectable margin over ESV Green. He is trying to go for the pure, clean air strap right now. ESV Green is second, TNR Surf is third, NDL Ardo in the Ford GT is fourth, NDL Avocado is fifth. He is in the lone Chevy entry, well, one of the few Chevy entries. And then Airlid is still hanging out in sixth. Hillbilly has worked his way up into seventh. Dindu has slipped back to eighth. Then Craviator, ninth, still has yet to make his first stop. And again, I think, no guarantee, I think Craviator is running on hard tires right now, trying to go for a long run. Honestly, if you don't automatically have pace to stay up with the top drivers, I think that Craviator's decision to try and just go ahead and run long on a harder set of tires is a good decision. Well, while the race is in a little bit of a calm point, we'll go ahead and knock out one of our ad breaks here. But don't go away. We will be right back for more action at Silverstone here for P1R's SEC Endurance Championship. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Silverstone, as it has been an absolute dogfight here for third position on track. Surf still holds it, but over a last about lap and a half, Arnaud has pulled alongside this Audi multiple times, trying to make something happen. We've seen him get alongside several times in Sector 3, which seems to be where the Ford GT and the Ferraris seem to be at their strongest. Surf seems to be a little bit stronger in Sector 1, and in Sector 2, the car seems to be relatively even with a very slight advantage in Surf's favor. But now I have to wonder, is tire wear going to come into play here? We look at the tires right now, 45% wear on that Audi. He's likely going to be pitting sooner rather than later. Arnaud, who runs just behind him, he is looking at 44% tire wear. So slightly better tire life on the Ford GT. Not just that, he is pulled alongside coming out of Magnussen Beckett. Now he's on the outside, and it does look like the Audi's a little faster in a straight line, but he's still tucked up, neck and neck. However, the Audi can go a little deeper, or can he? No! Arnaud is going to go really confident, take a really wide line, runs the car off track, will actually lose a bit of time, and that brings Avocado a little bit closer to the group. Nearly 3 wide going into the chicane, and Surf holds station over Arnaud. But it is very obvious that Surf has lost a lot of pace as the tires have fallen off, and Arnaud has gained pace in relation to Surf, but as Surf is able to keep the Ford GT behind, has backed Avocado into the fight, has backed Airline into the fight, has backed Hillbilly into the fight as well. Graviator, who is still not yet pitted on his hards, has only fell back to 11th position. Not really in a spot to really fight for overall honors, but he is doing a decent job on track, and I have to wonder if he might be able to make something happen with it. Surf holds station in 3rd right now, has now opened the gap on Arnaud as Avocado has been backed in to Airlid right now. But real quickly, I take a look at the drivers at the head of the field. Beats is at 49% tire wear on both of the left-right tires. In fact, his left rear has just hit 50 as he crosses the line. ESV Green, who is on a different tire strategy, though, he is at only 23% tire wear. So Green seems to be going a lot farther on the mediums, trying to minimize a pit stop or two as the race goes on, while Beats is just going for sheer pace right now. And then we have Surf, who is in 3rd, and again, already 54% on that left front, and is about to fall back into the clutches of Arnaud, who is just behind him in the Ford GT, and he is only at 53%. So it's not much, but 1% tire wear difference could have some significant positive benefits for Arnaud. Thing is, that's not going to be enough for Arnaud to just go ahead and spend an entire extra lap out on track to try to get ahead of someone else on strategy. He's going to have to make this happen on track. Having this little bit of extra tire life should help him a little bit. If he can't make an overtake stick, it's not really going to do him a lot of good here. He's pulled up behind Surf once again. And Avocado, who is in 5th in the Chevrolet, is going to rush into the pit lane now. One of the things that really and he'll actually be the first driver to make the second stop of the day. I will say one of the things I do not care much for at Silverstone is because of the angle that the pit lane takes, it really plays havoc with the grid ordering. Because pit lane is honestly a quicker way around the final corners and everything else. And if there's a way to do just a stop and go without actually having to take the mandatory 2.5 second stop, you could probably serve a stop and go penalty through there and end up only losing 1 or 2 seconds overall. It's incredibly ridiculous how OP that potential cut could be. However, that's not how this game works. So Arnaud still is tucked up behind Surf. We still have 3 German manufacturers at the head of the field. But the Ford is trying desperately to break in. Arnaud gives Surf another big hit in the rear bumper twice now, and now a pull alongside. The Audi trapped on the inside. The Ford tries to take an outside line. He's hoping that the Audi slides wide, but no, the Audi does not slide wide until they come out of the corner, and the car's already straightened up, and Arnaud is stuck behind the Audi once again. It's so obvious, to me at least, that Arnaud is faster than Surf, and the only reason he lost this position was because when they first got back onto track after making their pit stops, there was a big stack up, and Arnaud ended up losing that position. He's been stuck to the rear bumper of the Audi every lap since. This is the perfect example of it's one thing to catch a driver, it's another thing entirely to pass them. All right, out of Magnussen Beckett's now the Ford GT has a run on the inside. And this time it looks like he's faster out of Magnussen Beckett. Your leader, NDL Beats, has come into the stop, so we'll likely see Green re-inherit the lead for a moment. But there it is. Arno goes by. Arno finally gets a position on Surf. Surf is not done yet, though. Surf wants to get to the inside, but Arno's going to pit. Surf's going to pit. Erlen's going to pit. Hillbilly's going to pit. Well, Dindu pit as well. It seems like a huge chunk of drivers are all electing to pit at the same time. Dindu will stay out, and that means that he'll likely cycle into the third position as ESV Green is now gone back into your top position on track. We are well underway for the second round of stops in today's stint. Dindu lunges up the order all the way to third as we anticipate. In fact, he'll actually briefly end up ahead of NDL Beats. So Beats, who is in the Porsche and is now in a brand new set of tires once again, is going to have to deal with traffic, but only one car. Thing is that Dindu has shown some respectable speed and ability earlier today, although he lost a lot of time after making his pit stop. So I have to wonder how long is it going to take to try and overtake this Ferrari. The Ferrari with the tire wear right now of 45%. So Dindu likely on a set of medium tires right now. Also, Craviator has finally gone ahead, taken off that first round of hard tires about a quarter of the way through the event, so he is on track to make this a 3-stop race. Only downside for Craviator, he has fallen back to 20th position. The hard tires, while they minimize the amount of time you spend on track, they just do not have any grip whatsoever. And for Craviator, it's just not really helping him whatsoever. I wonder if he's going to consider abandoning that strategy midway to try to jump onto softs or mediums and make up some positions late in the event, but we will keep an eye on Craviator as this goes on. Also, credit where credit is due, with the exception of Green and Dindu, the majority of the field has all stayed relatively close to each other. No one's really at risk of going a lap down at this stage of the event. Now, we likely will see people going a lap down once we're a little bit past the halfway point, probably around the 2/3 point of the race, but still, it seems like the field is relatively competitive within itself today. It is not an absolute walkout by Green or Beats at the moment. Still, we are curious to see when Beats is going to catch Dindu and what he can do to try and make something happen against him. Big drag fight here from about 7th on back. Avocado has ended up ahead of Ardeno after the round of pit stops, and by a massive amount. That's the advantage of pitting one lap early, but, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, you have to pay the piper. Yes, you can go ahead and put on some fresh tires and everyone else a lap early. That's going to feel great, but that means that you're only going to be faster, way faster than everyone else for a single lap, and then you're just going to gradually be bleeding off speed and bleeding off pace for the rest of them. Now, if you're in clean air like Avocado is, that might not feel like too much, but still, you're going to be a lap behind for almost the entire rest of the event unless you make it up somewhere. And the front GT is into the dirt and slides, nearly hits the Mercedes, and the car is still trying to slide, and he's finally around. He tried to save that for so long, but finally gives up on him. The car is still struggling to get back, going the right way. So Ardeno, with a big slide and twitch, he kept it under him for a lot longer than I thought he would be able to, but finally the car gave up, and now he drops out of the top 10 positions, and Ardeno, who is legitimately on pace for a potential top 5 overall result, is going to drop well out of the top positions. A frustrating moment for Ardeno. But one thing that's not going to be frustrating for is going to be Surf, because now Surf doesn't have to worry about Ford GT pressure. Instead, he now just has to worry about Mercedes pressure. It's Erlen who was involved in that incident earlier in the event with JSR Ash. And speaking of JSR Ash, Ash is currently ahead of Erlen by virtue of Ash being on a different tire strategy. He has yet to make his second stop. When we look at the tire wear, 60.6% on that left front. I imagine if Ash knows what's good for him, but surely he would. He is a JSR driver. I imagine that Ash is going to go ahead and duck into the pit lane on this cycle around this track. ESV Green, is he going to be paying this lap? It does not look like it. Also, Dindu is still holding station over Beats. If anything, Bradders is closing in just a little bit on Beats at this stage of the event, as the track continues to go through a bit of a change as the night continues to get thicker here. I say the night gets thicker, but as we move closer to daytime, I guess would be a better term. And Dindu is now going to pit out of second position, so that will move Beats up into second place. So Green and JSR Ash is going to pit as well, but Bradders and Decoy are still going to stay out for a little longer. Interesting there. Surf continues to keep Erlen and TNR Hillbilly behind for the moment, but first, third, and fourth place all have yet to make their second stop of the event here. riding on board with the 4th place driver of ESL Decoy. You can see Bradders just ahead. Real quickly, I want to look at the tire life between Decoy and Bradders. Well, there's not a lot of fuel left in this car for one, but look at this. He's about to hit 60% on that left front is Decoy. For Bradders, who runs just a little bit ahead, he is looking at tire wear of only 45% and a lot more fuel. So Bradders seems to have the overall advantage over Decoy when it comes to this fight right now. And then Beats, who runs in 2nd position, just trying to go for sheer pace and relatively clean air, still has a lot of fuel, still has a decent amount of tire wear as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Beats may have elected to get onto the medium tires to try to stretch out a little bit of gap here. And then we look real quickly at ESV Green, who is your current race leader, 64%. I would not be one bit surprised if he decides to go ahead and pit on this circuit here. All right, yep, that's exactly what he's going to do. So this will cycle NDL Beats back into the lead, more than likely, assuming that Green's not a ridiculous distance ahead of Beats. It will be close between the two of them. It does look like Green has the overall advantage, though, in pace, but that might just be because of the tire choice. Green has been much, much more aggressive when it comes to minimizing time in the pits. Beats has been much more aggressive for the first 2 stints on soft tires. I think he's on medium tires for this current stint. Also, Decoy will pit out of the 4th position, but Bradders stays out a little longer. As we know, he's on an alternate strategy. I think he's gone medium, soft medium, or something like that, trying to just stretch things out a little longer. It's worked well for him now. He is currently 3rd on track. And look at that, Green ends up just behind Beats and just barely ahead of Bradders. Will Bradders put Green under any pressure as Green tries to get his tires up into temperature? Decoy pits, Leechard pits, Alto pits, and Freitas pits all farther back in the grid right now. Down the back straightaway underneath the bridge. You get a lot slower here. Now, this is the big question. Can Green do anything to Beats when it comes to time, when it comes to distance penalties, real quickly? They're really close to even on penalties. In fact, Bradders in 3rd is the one of only 5 drivers who have not yet earned any penalties at this stage of the event. But can Green do anything to Beats here? Coming up into Maggots and Beckett's this time by. Oh boy, he's gotten close. He's gotten almost right alongside. Through Maggots and Beckett's. Beats holds station. They've gotten alongside briefly. He's trying the crossover on corner exit. Did not work that time, but boy, he set up for it. Thing is, that did not work out for Green. He slid a little wide, ended up cutting the circuit. Now he has 0.04 miles when it comes to a distance penalty now. So Beats has him beat, in that, but Beats is wide. Coming out of the back straightaway, Green pulls alongside. Not quite side by side, though. It looks like the Porsche has a little bit of an advantage. Green goes deep under braking, lunges, misses the corner, holds the position, though, slides again. Beats pulls alongside. Neck and neck, final corner, a little bit of contact. And at the line, it's just barely going to be the Porsche. But the Mercedes has straight line speed. Dead heat as it going to turn number 1. Beats inside, Green outside. Still side by side. Now into turn 2, Green is on the preferred line of choice, and Beats slides wide. And now Green and the Mercedes goes back to the top, and Beats is back into 2nd. But man, that was a spirited fight that lasted for quite some time. And now they come back onto the first of the 2 back straightaways here. Green trying to open the gap and pull away from Beats here. But that was some pretty fancy driving on Green's part to really put the pressure on Beats and force him to have to eventually back out or lose the rear of the car. And to me, it looked like Beats lost the rear of the car. It looks like it just slid wide as he was trapped on the extreme outside in turn 2. And there's no coming back from that. So Green now takes the lead position of the event. And Bradders still runs in 3rd, and he still has yet to make his 2nd stop of the day. Craviator has actually filtered back into 16th. Again, we're going to keep an eye on Craviator just because I'm curious as to how his strategy is going to turn out here. that in mind, we're going to go ahead, go silent for a lap. I'm right on board for a flying lap with the lead Mercedes of ESV Green. See what a full lap here in the cloudy night is like around UK's premier Formula One circuit, Silverstone. We'll go silent for a lap on board with Green. All right, welcome back to Silverstone here. So while we were away, we saw Bradders, who had been in third position, finally made his second stop of the day. That has dropped him down to 10th position. Avocado filtered up into third, but now he has made his third stop of the day. Again, Avocado is paying about a lap early than most of the rest of the field. So with Avocado making his stop, we can anticipate to see most of the rest of the drivers make their third stops very shortly here, but not this man. Green still has 30% on the tires and a good deal of fuel left as he continues to pull away from our second place driver. NDL Beats in the Porsche. Beats opened up a gap earlier as there was a big knockout, drag-out fight for second on back for a long time. But as Green pulled away and as strategy went out for Green and Beats, it's turned out that Green is on top of Beats when it comes to everything. They're relatively even on fuel and tire wear. Looks like right now, though, Beats is going to be paying a little bit earlier than Green at this stage of the race. Third place overall is TNR Surf in the Audi. So we continue the trend of having three different kinds of German manufacturers, Mercedes, Porsche, and Audi, holding the top three positions. But for Surf, it has not been anything close to an easy walkway. It has been a struggle for him. NWR Silent L is making his stop there in 21st position right now. In fourth place is, well, actually, real quickly, I want to look at Surf's fuel and tire wear. He is looking at 64% on that left front, so I imagine Surf will be pitting sooner rather than later here. What about Hillbilly? We've not talked a lot about him, but he has been in the periphery of this fight. A lot of front tire wear compared to not a whole lot in the rear. 66%, he's going to be about 68%. I have to imagine that Surf is likely going to pit this lap. Hillbilly is going to have to pit this lap. And then the man in fifth, he's been in some controversy after he got into it with JSR Ash in the first 3 laps of the event. But Airlid continues to hang out in the top 5 positions. And there we are, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, all pitting together now. 6th place is Dindu, who is in the Ferrari. He is going to stay out a little longer as he is one of the drivers on an alternate strategy. 46% on the tires, 13% fuel, so he can probably bang out another 3 laps without too much issue. ESL Decoy is going to stay out. He's back there at 17. Our Glizzy is paying in 8th position. This will also give Avocado a whole lot of those positions back. But again, I have to wonder, is Avocado's decision to pit a lap earlier than most everyone else who's on his strategy. Is that going to come back and bite him near the end of the event? Once his tires are burning up and he's worse on tire wear near the end of the run, and everyone else has about a lap on him when it comes to tire life. But one way or another, Avocado right now, granted it is just for right now, he is the highest of all the drivers who have made 3 stops in this event. Just going for absolute aggression, having made 3 stops. I imagine that the drivers on soft tires are going for a 6-stop strategy if they only do softs. Drivers on mediums, I believe, are going on a 4-stop strategy if they do only mediums. And then the one driver who we believe is doing hards all the way through, JSR Craviator, he is going for a 3-stop strategy, if I'm understanding everything correctly. Ardno, who was involved in a big twitch spin earlier, sim twitch spin as he was fighting with the Audi of TNR Surf. He is currently in 7th, but when it comes to overall distance, he is way behind after basically sliding back and forth the entirety of the front straightaway before the car finally just let go on him and lost a huge chunk of time in the process. Definitely on the periphery of maybe a top 5 result, but now he really has to fight his way back up to the grid and do it cleverly. It's not like getting by these cars ahead is going to be any good. And Bradders, who runs just ahead, is on. Oh, and Dindu is actually pitting earlier than I expected. I thought Dindu would be able to stay out a lot longer, but no. Dindu elects to pit now, about 47 minutes into the event, into our stint here. So that's going to drop him well down the order. And that will cycle ESL Decoy up into 4th, and Avocado. Oh, Decoy will go into 3rd, and Avocado will go into 4th, I imagine. Yeah, that's going to knock Dindu way back down the grid, and he may have to deal with some traffic. Again, you want to maximize your time in clean air, not fighting other drivers here. It was a little bit different at Daytona because at Daytona you have a whole lot of big straightaways and you can get a lot of advantage just from running in someone else's draft, really extend the life of the tires. That's not the case here at Silverstone. Silverstone has a much more technical circuit with a lot of middle speed and low speed corners. There are some high speed corners, but a lot of middle and low speed corners that put a lot of wear on the tires. You want to be in clean air throughout most of it to really make use of it. So Avocado moves back into the 4th position, and Bradders is here in 5th with Ardno right behind in 6th. Ardno has shown struggle trying to actually make overtakes happen. Seems to be relatively good in clean air, but making overtakes for the Ford GT seems to be a little bit of a struggle for him. Bit of a slide by Bradders just ahead, though. All 21 cars still on the lead lap after almost 50 minutes of running, so not quite halfway through the event. It has been a brisk little race thus far here. And there we are, 2nd place, NDL Beats coming into the pits earlier than Green, which is pretty much what we expected. And I think for ESV Green, unless he ends up in an accident while trying to overcome lap traffic, it is pretty obvious that he is the fastest driver here, and he's going to walk off with this. Either that, or he has to have the big mistake in pit lane when it comes to not filling up enough, or putting the wrong set of tires on, or something like that. Otherwise, Green is going to walk off with this without any issue. And now we see Ardno pitting out the 6th position. Now, Bradders, we know, is on his own unique little pit strategy at the moment. He has only done 2 stops thus far, and only at 25%. Again, I think Bradders may just be going far on medium tires and trying to stretch the mediums out as much as possible. Bit of a contrast to JSR Craviator, who is running only hards and is just trying to push the hards to their realistic distance now. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 5th all really have some gaps between each other. You start really getting fights here from Surf, Airlid, and Hillbilly. And then there is Dindu, who's just come out a little bit behind the group. Will go ahead and ride on board with the Ferrari for just a little bit here. But you can see these three different cars all on top of each other. 2 Mercedes and an Audi. Dindu has a tire advantage over them, has a bit of a fuel advantage as well, so he'll be out longer than them, but he's going to have to figure out a way by because one way or another, he has caught this trio before they can even make their pit stop. He's going to be tucked up behind them for at least half the lap, and that could really hurt Dindu's overall distance and overall position here. ESV Green now pitting out of the lead of the event, but based on the gap that he had on NDL Beats, there's no doubt in my mind that he will maintain the race lead after finishing his pit stop. Fights really seem to be for about third position. Based on pace and strategy alone, I think there's no fewer than 7 different people who could, well, that's a bit of an overtime. I think there are about 5 different people who are in serious contention for third. But right now, it feels like to me, TNR Surf is in the best position to have third right now. But if Airline gets alongside here, that could change. Will any of those 3 put this lap? No, and that's a big problem for Dindu. Green is going to end up coming back out of the pits in the lead, like I said, and Decoy will pit just behind Green as well, so Decoy will end up dropping behind a lot of these drivers on track, though. There goes your leader. There's second place going by the camera, as does third. RFXX and P1R Turk are making their stops further back down the grid. Here's this fight where about fourth on back. Barris has not really been able to pull away from Surf at all here. And there's your top 10 as they go by. Dindu tucked up behind the Audi of Hillbilly. He looks to the inside, but gets cut off. Right now, Hillbilly is kind of losing touch with this fight ahead as Surf is catching Brabbers, and here's the move for what will be 7th. The Audi is wide, can't do anything about it. His tires are just too cooked. And speaking of cooked tires, look at Surf's tires right now, 33%. He is good on rubber for a while. For Airlid, though, it is at 33%, so his tires are also good at the moment. I think they probably have some sort of mediums on to try and get some distance out of them. Meanwhile, the Ferrari of Dindu, who did not pit that long ago, he's already in the 20s, so Dindu, I believe, is in a position where he may be on, well, he may be on the same tires, actually. Side by side ahead, though. Airlid and Surf. But Airlid does not have the speed, so he'll pull out of it. He's not even going to try and send it side by side. Surf wants to send it on Bradders, but there's just no room. He's faster, but not close enough to really get alongside. So now it brings Airlid back into the fray. Does the Mercedes make a big dive? Oh, the Ferrari closes right in under braking, though. Like I said before, the Ferrari is really strong in Sector 3 compared to all of the German cars that seem to just have a really good balance across the entire circuit. So 4th through 8th, all basically right on top. 4th through 8th, all basically on top of each other, and no one in the top 10 spots make a pit stop this time by. Here comes the move to the inside. That is Dindu. A little bit of a contact, and Airlid falls right behind. He tries to round the corner so he can get right back behind the Ferrari. No luck that time, but Surf has gotten by Bradders, though. And now it is time for Dindu to try and make something happen to Bradders. Surf gets to open the gap, and he is now in clean air. Side by side now for the 5th position. Bradders outside, Dindu inside, but it will turn around and it will be swapped as they go through the hairpin. Bradders can't keep Dindu behind. Dindu seems to be relatively decent in this corner as well whenever he has a tire advantage compared to the other cars on track. So the Ferrari gets by. So Dindu now up in the 5th, and he sets his sights on TNR Surf. But Surf, this has got to be a big relief for him. This has been one of the biggest gaps he has held over anyone else behind him for most of this race. Airlid now tucked up behind Bradders once again. How aggressive does he try to make a move on the Mercedes? Well, the Mercedes actually closes in under braking on the Ferrari. So it does seem like through Magnus and Beckett's, Bradders actually claws back a little bit of the gap to the Ferrari until it comes on exit, and look at that. That is Airlid and Hillbilly. The Audi of Hillbilly is not done yet. He is tucked up behind the Mercedes. Does he make a dive to the inside into braking? No, but Airlid makes a dive, gets nearly into the rear end of Bradders, slides wide in the process. Avocado pits out of 3rd position. Avocado is being really aggressive when it comes to his tires, just trying to go for sheer unadulterated pace, even if it means that screws him over in strategy. 6th, 7th, and 8th all trying to make some alternate lines work to try and make some time, make some ground, and none of these moves are really working. They're just kind of slowing each other down. Dindu, meanwhile, is closing in on Surf just ahead of him. ESV Green continues to lead by a significant distance over NDL Beats in second. This is the fight for third position as Dindu stalks TNR Surf through Sector 1 at the moment. JSR Ash is making his third stop of the day. Avocado has made his fourth stop, so he is the first driver to make 4 stops, and we're not even halfway through the event for Avocado. I'm going to be honest, it looks like he may be on route to make it a 7-stop affair today. And I don't know if Avocado has the pace to make a 7-stop affair actually work or not. Oh, big slide by Dindu. Big twist, big slide. That's going to hurt his run on Surf just a little bit here. Hillbilly still tucked up behind Airlid as well, trying to get into the 5th position. I can see any of these drivers from about 3rd to 7th, and then maybe Avocado, but it's a little bit unlikely. But any of these drivers from 3rd to 7th, plus possibly Avocado, in contention to steal 3rd place overall. But Green and Beats seem to have a solid lock on 1st and 2nd finishing position. Surf continues to keep Dindu just behind for the moment, as they go down the back straightaway once more. Dindu just hangs out in the draft, but not really trying to make any moves, not really putting the Audi under any pressure. But these corners are where Dindu is at his strongest. Does he make a move? Does he make a dive? Well, he thought of it, but Surf kind of had a middling line, which denied Dindu any line. Thing is that kind of compromises Surf through these as well, so Dindu still ends up being right on top of him, shooting out of the final corner, and now across the start-finish line once again. Nose to tail, does the Ferrari go to the inside? Not quite, but the Audi is sliding around just a little bit. When it comes to fuel and tires, this is what we're looking at. 59%, nearly 60% on that left front. Dindu goes by, but now in crossover in favor of Surf. Great crossover move by Surf on Dindu. He let Dindu have the unideal, horrible line in turn 3, and he immediately crossed him over. Great move by Surf there. But Dindu is only at 49%, so he's got about a lap or 2 when it comes to fuel and tire life right now. But Dindu obviously will want to be running this in cleaner air, being stuck up behind Surf, not able to make a move, not able to get the nose of that car in clean air. Has got to be absolutely agony for him right now, because he feels like he's going to be losing ground after this Audi finally does make a stop and ends up in clean air on even fresher tires. Still, Dindu is tucked up behind the Audi. Not quite nose to tail as Dindu looks to the inside. Does he go hard into braking? No. He'll fall back in line, but we'll try and get side by side on exit. That's not a corner we normally see moves in, but we just saw Dindu make it stick. The tire advantage is absolutely in favor of the Ferrari. Now he goes through Magnussen Beckett, which normally has a bit of an advantage for the Audi compared to the Ferrari. Dindu all sorts of sideways, really twitching, really sideways, but as he comes out, the gap is most definitely now opening in the Ferrari's favor. I imagine we'll see Surf pit this lap. The big thing, though, is that Surf, after he pits, is going to be running 2 laps in possibly clean air. We'll keep an eye on Surf, because if Surf ends up in clean air, he'll likely claw all this gap on Dindu's back and then some. But if Surf has to deal with some traffic, he is going to be in some trouble. Does he pit this lap? Yes, he does. Exactly what we anticipated would happen. Boy, he's not the only one. Airline, Bradders, and Hillbilly all go ahead and pit along with him. And it's really interesting for Bradders, because Bradders is basically on pace with these drivers, but he has made 1 fewer stop. So what that suggests to me is that Bradders may not have the legit pace to be up here with these drivers, but strategy may play out. If he's ahead, if he's caught an entire pit stop ahead of where his actual pace may be, that could really pay solid dividends in the latter half of the event. All right, so Surf now coming out pit lane. I see Ardno rounding the final corner, so we know Ardno is going to be passed, but it's a long way back to anyone else. I think Surf is going to be in relatively clean air here. We'll go ahead and knock out a ad break here and hopefully catch the rest of the leaders making their next stop when we come back to Silverstone. Welcome back to Silverstone. We are on board with Dindu as he has finally completed his 4th pit stop, and the fight is going to be between Dindu and Surf. We see Ardno go by on the track map. This is going to be where it comes down to. Dindu was ahead of Surf when Surf made a stop, but Surf has run 2 laps in clean air with fresh tires. Is that going to be enough to get him up to the Ferrari? Here comes the Audi. He is right on the Ferrari's rear bumper, not quite side by side. Through turn 3, Dindu has to get heat into the tires and do it fast. The Audi is under pressure from a car behind as well. It could be a 3-man fight as they come onto the back straightaway. A bit of a run through the dirt by the Ferrari and leaves Surf aligned. They're side by side for a 6th position. Drag race down underneath the bridge as they come under braking. Surf on the inside gets cut down on by Dindu. Contact. Neither car is in a good position. Dindu holds the inside line. Surf in behind. He'll try to cross over on corner exit. There's a little bit of contact. Dindu has got into. He's sideways and Airlane is there. Still side by side for 6th. Now the Audi pulls ahead. And now here comes the Mercedes of Airlane. Airlane has the inside line on Dindu. Dindu on the outside will cut down, take the position back, but in the end, just like I was afraid would happen, or I don't know if I should say afraid happened, but what I thought would happen, Surf has ended up ahead of Dindu. Beats goes ahead and pits out of the 2nd position right now. Airlane still tucked up behind Dindu, able to put the Ferrari under plenty of pressure. So there is roughly a 2-lap difference when it comes to fuel and tire wear. Dindu has a 2-lap advantage over Surf and Airlane, who is just ahead and behind him respectively. The problem is that every time he has gotten by, the tire advantage swings massively in Surf and Airlane's favor for about 2 laps when they are on fresh rubber and Dindu is on worn out rubber, and that massive swing keeps keeping this Audi ahead of the Ferrari. This is the fight for what we anticipate will be 3rd overall. Ardno goes ahead and pits ahead of this group at the moment. NDL Beats currently runs in 3rd position. Avocado in 4th. Big crossover move by Dindu. He tried to make something happen, tried to get into Surf's head, but this just did not work, and this actually cost Dindu a whole lot of momentum through turns 1 and 2 and brought Airlane right back under his rear wing again. Not quite side by side for the 6th position as they go through turn number 4 now. But yeah, it does seem like the advantage is pretty significantly in Surf's advantage here as they go down the back straightaway. Also, while we were away, Craviator has made his 2nd stop of the day, so he'll be on what we believe is his 3rd set of hard tires. He is currently in the 16th position on that strategy. Also of note, we have had our first driver go a lap down, and that is NWR Silent L, but as Green comes into the pits this time by, Silent L will go back onto the lead lap, but still, we'll likely see him go back a lap down in a few laps time here, as Green goes ahead and knocks out what will be his 4th pit stop of the day. So again, Green on track to making this a, I believe, 6-stop race. The Beats, I believe, is also on track for a 6-stop race, but he is down on pace and a little bit down on strategy as well. Decoy will also go ahead and pit out of 2nd, so we know that he'll lose 2nd place to Beats here. Decoy could be in contention to maybe spoil Dindu and Surf's fight for 3rd position. Same thing with Avocado. Big thing with Avocado is that Avocado is basically paying an entire lap earlier than everyone else on his strategy, so he is on what I call a strategy disadvantage. If you're set up to be on much worse tires near the end of the race, that's why I call a strategy disadvantage. Oh, Dindu over the curb, something nasty, and got the car all sideways. He doesn't lose too much time, though. Still tucked up behind Surf at the moment. So we'll see this group get by Decoy without any issue here. Decoy now has the tire advantage over the next 4 drivers on track ahead of him. Oh, the Ferrari tried to stick his nose into a gap that didn't exist, but he forces it to exist. A bit of contact on the run out through the corner, coming onto one of the 2 back straightaways, and Dindu's by. And it's taken him much less time than it did before. Is that going to be enough? But he got his nose there, and the Audi shut the door, but as he did, he got himself a little bit sideways, and now he hits the Ferrari in the rear bumper, forces the Ferrari wide. The Ferrari still holds the inside line. The rear end is sliding out of the Ferrari of Dindu, but he's using it to try and block Surf. Surf gets the crossover, but kills his momentum. Airline is by Surf now. Wow. Maybe people will say that Surf put that fight in a little bit too aggressively, but he was not able to hold the station as he fell behind Airline, and now Airline has a run on the Ferrari, as both the Ferrari was all sorts of sideways, and the Audi, while it wasn't so sideways, he backed off so much to not hit the Ferrari a third or fourth time that compromised him. Now Airline moves up into what is fifth position on track. Third place, India Avocado making his stop now. The Ferrari of Dindu defends the inside line very aggressively, so Airline's going to go on the outside. Will he try the crossover if Dindu slides wide? Well, Dindu did not slide. He didn't do a slide. That was awful, but whatever. So Avocado's still in pit lane. Surf gets right behind him, and that is Hillbilly, the other Audi, the other TNR Audi at that is there as well, trying to see if maybe he can sneak by Surf here. Coming out of the final corner and across the line, 4th through 7th, all still on top of each other right now. Well, now it's 3rd through 6th as Avocado has properly fallen behind the group. Avocado is actually going to fall all the way back to 8th position by the looks of it, but he is still ahead of Bradders at the moment. So for Bradders, I think that although his strategy has gotten him way higher up the grid than we anticipated, the pace is just not there for him. Dindu trying to open up the gap on Airlid, and if Airlid starts fighting with Surf, Dindu absolutely will be able to do it, and the fight may be between... Dindu will have a much stronger chance in his fight to take 3rd overall in this event. As I say that, the Ferrari is all sorts of sideways through here. It looks like Airlid's closing in just a little bit, and he's dragging the Audi with him. About 51 minutes left in the event. Not really a whole lot I can say about this. Right now, it's just a calm stalking fight from about 3rd to 6th at the moment, and TNR Hillbilly is losing touch with Surf. Surf is losing touch with Airlid. It's really just Airlid trying to put some pressure on Dindu. But when it comes to tire and fuel numbers, Dindu has been going about 2 laps longer than this duo every single circuit. And if that means that Airlid and Surf have to pit earlier, it might end up being in a worse position because they will already be behind Dindu and have to push even harder on fresh tires to try and make up the gap. Now, yes, you can push harder on fresher tires, for sure. But if you're not able to push properly, or you overtax the tires, or you end up going wide on track, that could end up really compromising you. But interesting enough, Dindu is not pulling away from this group. I do wonder if Airlid and... Oh! What in the devil is that, Surf? Just made a gigantic dive and overtook 2 positions in a single corner. I was watching that happen, and I didn't even react as it happened because it just didn't look like it was possible, but he went really deep into turn 4. Dindu gets right on Surf's rear bumper, and now he's the one who hits the Audi in the rear, but the Ferrari is a lot lighter in the rear than the Audi. The Audi can take hits from the rear, so Surf went from 5th to 3rd in a single corner in turn 4 here at Silverstone. I'm kind of shocked at what I saw happen. Although it's not over yet, Dindu is putting Surf under some massive pressure, trying to get to his inside, trying to deny him the inside. That's exactly what he does. He blocks the line, kills Surf's ability to do the crossover. Airline's there. Hillbilly's got to run on everyone. They're 3 wide for the position. Side by side, and Hillbilly will shoot ahead of them all. Hillbilly goes to the top position to Magnus and Baggins, but he had a horrible entry. He is sliding all over the place, trying to keep the car on track. Dindu is back and forth again. For Dindu, it just seems like agony because he's able to make moves better than the other cars ahead of him due to his tire advantage, but he does not seem to have what it takes to just make an outright overtake. He'll go to the outside of Hillbilly, trying to keep Hillbilly pitched to the extreme inside, coming out of the back straightaway, cutting down. He will just about complete the overtake on exit. But Hillbilly is still right there. Hillbilly looks outside, now looks inside. Hillbilly goes for a gigantic dive and completely misses the track. Hillbilly off into the dirt. He's going to lose his track of this fight altogether. And they're side by side just behind Dindu now, as Surf is going neck and neck with Airlid here. Is that ESL Decoy? Yeah, when did ESL Decoy get into this fight? Well, he just about took himself out of it as he dropped the tire into the dirt going in turn 1, but he will keep the car straight. But that has dropped him and Airlid back just a bit. So Surf is now a little bit closer to being alone as he needs to try and run down Dindu here before they make their next round of pit stops. And now it seems like Avocado is 2 laps behind everyone else in strategy. Like I said, it looks like Avocado legitimately is in a position. Oh, and Airlid has gone completely off circuit, has lost the track completely lost everything, goes way off track. He'll fall back to 6, and now he might lose that even to Indio Avocado, who is in the Chevrolet tucked up right behind. Airlid's knocked a little wide. Avocado has a run. He gets hip checked twice. He'll now fall to 7th. Now Hillbilly is right behind him again. So Hillbilly and Airlid both have lost a lot of positions, but they're back fine with each other once more. The Mercedes on the outside, the Audi on the inside as they go through Sector 2. 61% wear on the left front for Airlid. Hillbilly completes the overtake, but for the Audi of Hillbilly, his tires are at 64% right now. Seems like the Audi drivers burn up their tires more, but are able to get a little bit more life out of them. So ESL Decoy has just gotten by TNR Surf, and Surf is about to fall to prey to Avocado, who is on fresher tires. And here we are, yeah. So we definitely know that Surf is paying this lap. He does not have enough fuel to go another circuit here. Avocado to his inside, though, so Surf is going to have a really nasty run in what will be the last corner. As a high-speed corner as well, with a decreasing radius. Boy, Surf loses a bunch of time, and Dindu is going to pit as well. So now Dindu and Surf and Hillbilly and Airlid are all on the same pit stop sequence now. They're all pitting at the same time relative to each other, but Dindu has the advantage on track on them by a significant amount. This also will see ESL Decoy now go back into 3rd position, and Avocado will go into 4th. So now now the strategies start to simplify a bit. Decoy and Avocado both, I imagine, have only 3 more stops to make. All those drivers who just pitted there, though, I think they're only going to have 2 more stops. Pit with about 30 minutes left in the session, pit with about 15 minutes left in the session, and you should be good. So for Dindu, he will be the first of this group to come out of the pits naturally. He'll maintain his advantage over Surf. And the good news for Dindu, he has a big gap ahead of him until he gets to the driver who's currently in 6th, Ardno in the Lone 4 GT machine. He is at 48% tire wear, 13.3% fuel, so I imagine Ardno can finish this lap and maybe knock out 2 or 3 more laps before coming into pits. But that spin that Ardno had earlier has really derailed what had been an otherwise decent run for him. But at the moment, your 3rd place driver is currently ESL Decoy, trying to make a, I guess we'll call this an alternate strategy work here. We're going to go ahead and knock out a ad break here, and when we come back, hopefully we'll see some of our top 3 drivers pit here at Silverstone. All right, welcome back here to Silverstone as several of our drivers are underway for their final rounds of stops. Dindu has pulled away from Airlid, Hillbilly, and Surf just a little bit, and that is now the turn of fight between 8th, 9th, and 10th between two Audis and a Mercedes. The Ferrari has finally opened up the gap as starting to pull away just a little bit. Also, while we're under the ad break, Indiel Hot Pockets lagged out, so he was only made it about 5/8 of the way through the event, sadly. Indiel Beats pitting out of the second position. But again, we're basically guaranteed that Green and Beats will finish in first and second position. The question is third. Decoy and Avocado are leading one strategy. Bradders is on a separate strategy of his own. Then you have Dindu, who is currently leading the primary strategy that Surf, Airlid, and Hillbilly are all on. So we're looking at 3 different strategies right now. Speaking with Bradders coming in and pits now, he'll make his 4th stop. I think that Bradders is likely on a 4, maybe, I think he's on a 5-stop strategy, although maybe if you wanted to, you could throw on medium tires, and if you were really careful, you could make them work, but I don't know if that would stick. I think for Bradders, he's going to be on a 5-stop strategy here, but most everyone else around him is on a 6-stop strategy. A lot of this is coming down to position, at track position, and how much tire and fuel you're going to have left on your car at the end of the run. Also, while all that has happened, Silent L, Leechard, and Fritas have all gone a lap down. SR Ziani has yet to go a lap down, though. After that would be P1 on Alto and P1 on Turk, who would be the next drivers at risk of going a lap down. I think those would be the only other drivers at risk of going a lap down in today's event, although there is the risk of Craviator going a lap down. We still have yet to see him make what would be his final stop, as again, Craviator, we believe, is on a hard tire strategy right now. Bit of a fight, but not really. It's more like a grand stalking battle between Beats, Decoy, and Avocado, as our leader, ESV Green, now comes into the pit lane. The big thing is Beats has the tire advantage over Decoy and Avocado right now. Decoy and Avocado really are fighting more for 3rd position, but the fact that they are gradually closing in on Beats does suggest to me, at least, that Beats may not be very fast. He may actually be losing a little bit of speed as this race has gone on. Green is walking off of this. Here comes a move for 3rd. This could be the move for 3rd place overall. Decoy has it. Avocado wants it. Avocado's not really doing anything to aggress. Oh, I take that back. He goes ahead and puts a solid hit on Decoy's rear bumper. And Decoy and Avocado both hit at the same time. As I say, Green will hold the lead. Beats will hold 2nd. But this will cycle Dindu, I believe, up into the 3rd position now. Or I think it will. As Dindu rounds the corner, and now coming to the final chicane once again. I look at the tire wear on Dindu's machine. 27% at the moment. So I think Dindu may be able to make this go to the end on just one more stop. Avocado, I see no way that Avocado doesn't make at least one more stop with about 15 to 20 minutes left in the event. And no, Decoy and Avocado are still both ahead of Dindu. No, they're not. Never mind. They're just barely behind him, and they are still fighting with each other. Decoy up ahead of Avocado. Avocado in the Chevy, I believe it's the only Chevy in this event. In a race that has been dominated by German manufacturers. It has been Avocado in the Chevy, along to a lesser extent, Ardno in the 4 before a spin, and then the Italian Ferrari have really been the ones trying to upset what has been a Mercedes, well, just a German manufacturer dominated day. Decoy is not having it, though. Decoy is keeping Avocado on his behind, and the longer these two fight, the happier that Dindu will be. Dindu is on much more worn tires than this duo. They naturally should be able to close in on him, but while all these drivers have only one more stop to make, I think Dindu is going to have an advantage in track position, although he may have a slight disadvantage in the end of when it comes to, I think Dindu may end up with a slight disadvantage when it comes to life with the tires, but I think he's going to have a good advantage in track position unless this duo catches him in the next few laps here. HYR Fritas is making his stop, so as we said, that's going to trap him a lap down again. Also, we're going to see Silent L go back to going a lap down here in just a moment as well. Hillbilly has lost touch with Airlid and Surf, and Ash, who went spinning off of Airlid's front bumper in the earlier stages of the race, has just not been able to make any solid moves up the grid. You just lose so much time, and when everyone here is on mad sprint pace the entire time by, it's not like you can dig deep and find extra pace if you're already using all the extra pace you have. And for Ash, I imagine he's going to be absolutely livid to the end of this stint. A little less than 40 minutes left in the event right now. Dindu is trying to open the gap on Decoy and Avocado. Craviator, who has yet to make his final stop, is currently in 14th position, but based on the rate that he's been going, we're anticipating that Craviator will make his final stop in about 6.5 minutes, and then those will be hard, they'll take him to the end. Again, there is a possibility that he may go a lap down after doing so. We have yet to see. But it seems like most of the fights for position have calmed down in the top 5. There's a stalking battle right now as Airlid continues to follow Surf. Surf can see Avocado ahead, Avocado can see Decoy, and Decoy can see Dindu, but no one's really close enough to make any overtakes for position right now. Everyone's just kind of calmed down at the moment. So all it would take is one driver having a hiccup, and all of a sudden it becomes a feeding frenzy out here. Airlid's got a draft on Surf once more. So again, Bradders on a radically outside strategy, but Bradders may still have on strategy a chance to get podium, but really it's going to be Dindu, who is leading the same strategy that Surf, Airlid, and Hillbilly is on, versus Decoy and Avocado. Now technically Decoy and Avocado are on different strategies. Avocado has made an extra stop. He'll likely end up with 7 pit stops, so Decoy will end up with 6, but still, they have functionally ended up on the same strategy at this stage of the event. And then, like I said, Bradders is on a completely alternate strategy as he is minimizing the amount of time spent on pit lane, running more stints on the medium tires than the soft tires. In fact, I don't know if Bradders has run any stints on the soft tires thus far today. I'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, soft tires have absolutely been the way to go for the majority of the field, and if Bradders can pull out a podium, I would be impressed. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I feel like right now it's going to be a knuckle-down fight between Dindu, Avocado, and Decoy. And I think in that fight, if Decoy's close, after they all make their final stops, I think Decoy will get third. But if the gap is open, I think Dindu has them. He'll bleed off a lot of time. They'll be close to each other, but I think in the end he'll have them. I think Dindu will have them. That's just all off of my guesswork, though. Real quickly, once again, we look at the tire life and fuel consumption of our lead cars. ESV Green still has a little less than 20% left in the tank, 26.9% wear on that left front, so he'll be out there for a while. He's probably not going to be paying until about 20-25 minutes left. Peets, who is in second, has been paying about a lap to 2 laps earlier each and every circuit, and that continues here as he has more tire wear and less fuel. Dindu, who is in third in this grand fight for the third position, the final step on the podium, he's at 54% wear on the left front, 8.3% fuel, so he'll finish this lap and can probably knock out another lap or two if he so chooses. But when he pits, I imagine that Dindu will go ahead and throw on medium tires and just try to drag the mediums to the end of this. Man, that's gonna be a big ask. If Dindu has to make an extra stop, he could really be in trouble. Then we look at Decoy, who is in fourth right now, trying to close in on Dindu. Decoy 28% on the left front, 19% tire life. So Decoy has been pitting almost every lap with our leader, ESV Green. And then Avocado, he pitted with Decoy on the most recent circuit. I imagine unless he's just absolutely atrocious with his tires, he should be able to match Decoy on pit stops. So these two, I imagine, will be paying with about 15 minutes left or so. Yeah, Dindu might be in a lot more trouble than I realized. And Avocado is just, he went for a move, couldn't make it Couldn't really do anything with it, though, so Decoy holds station over Avocado. Yeah, Dindu's going to have to really drag this set of fuel and tire out and then jump on mediums and be really, really cautious. But if this duo here keep fighting with each other for position, Dindu might be able to make it work. The thing is, this duo have a significant tire advantage right now, and after Dindu makes a pit, he may have to deal with traffic, and if Dindu has to deal with traffic, that could single-handedly derail his chance of bringing home this third place. Real quickly, I do want to look at Bradders. As we anticipate, he also will only have one more pit stop to make before this is over. 45% at the moment. Quite a bit of fuel still in the tank, though. As Bradders has caught Hillbilly. Hillbilly seems to deal with a lot more problems. He actually burns through his tires faster than Surf, the other TNR driver in the Audi. But, oh, and Dindu is pitting now. Okay, so Dindu pits now, but unless he puts on hard tires, I see no way that he'll be able to make that last to the end. And Surf pits, Airlid pits, Hillbilly pits. So yeah, all four of those cars still on the same strategy. If they all pitted down, there's still more than 30 minutes left. They may have to pit another time. So those drivers may also be on a 7-stop strategy. They may have to pit around 15 minutes left. I don't know how. I think that will likely take most of them out of contention of this fight for third, honestly. We might be able to catch Avocado or Bradders. Again, Bradders likely only has to make one more stop in this event. I think Bradders is going for what would overall be a 5-stop strategy. I think he's just been doing medium, medium, medium this entire run. Craviator coming into the pits now, and it will be his final pit stop. There is a risk, though, that he's going to go a lap down after doing so. Your leader, ESV Green, has put P1R Alto a lap down, and still is likely going to stay out on the track for at least another 2 laps, if not 3 or 4, before making his final stop here. P1R Turk is still in the pit, as is SR Ziani as well. Well, Ziani is just now coming into the pits, to be honest, but yeah, we're likely going to see Craviator going a lap down in these next few circuits here. ESV Green didn't have the greatest start to this race, but he has absolutely far and above been faster than everyone else. Fight for third continues. Avocado tucked up behind Decoy. Looks to the inside. Forces his way through. A little bit of door banging. Decoy trapped on the outside, and Avocado is through on the Chevrolet. That was a bit aggressive, but he made it stick. He made it work. Decoy puts the bumper to Avocado's rear end, going into the chicane, but isn't really in position to get him offline, let alone compromise even if the Chevrolet went offline. So Avocado up to third. And again, we think Avocado is on a 7-stop strategy. Decoy's now got to run to the inside, going into turn 3. Side by side in the 4, Avocado has the inside line. Decoy will try the crossover on exit, and he will complete the crossover. So Decoy gets the position back. Avocado's still tucked up in his draft, though. When it comes down to it, between these two, Avocado is a lot better when it comes to distance penalties, and distance penalties will likely have a big impact on how this shakes out between the two of them if these two stay on top of each other to the end of this race here. Man, this is really good. I think these two kind of figure that it is just between the two of them for third position, and I think that they are assuming that no one else is going to be in their range. So they're willing to fight and bleed off time between each other because I believe that they anticipate that just on strategy, they're going to end up ahead of everyone else. Avocado, not really on strategy, more on pace, considering that he's basically an entire pit stop, has done an entire pit stop over Decoy. And speaking of which, Avocado pits early with 27 minutes left. I mean, is Avocado going to make it on just 7 stops? Is he going to have to make it an 8-stop affair? If he has to make this an 8-stop affair and he still pulls off a podium, I would be impressed. But honestly, just trying to make it 7 stops, try to make this work the way he's going, I'd be impressed by. So anyways, where's Dindu going to end up in relation to Avocado? Dindu has ended up in clean air after making his stop. So that should help him quite a bit here. Avocado's already moving down pit lane, though. Dindu will have him by the exit of turn 1. It's not a very big gap, though. Avocado's honestly pretty close to Dindu at the moment. So a pair of NDL drivers fighting for what could be 3rd overall. Still have yet to see Decoy, who is in 3rd, make his next stop. Could potentially be Decoy's final stop, and now that he's been able to go again a little longer than Avocado, that could play big dividends for Decoy when it comes to putting together a result. Pitting later means your tires are just generally going to be better near the end of the event, but you trade off track position by doing so. ESV Green is pitting now, and normally we see Decoy pitting with Green. Decoy has also almost caught NDL Beats, but again, Beats made his pit stop. Beats is pitting about a lap earlier than Green and Decoy. So it's really only for about a lap that Decoy catches Beats, and then Decoy has to make his stop and falls back to about a pit stop behind him. But we are anticipating to see Decoy make a stop here, and if he does, we'll have to see where he ends up in relation to Decoy, in relation to Dindu and Avocado. But right now, Dindu seems to have the advantage over Avocado as they come out of Mackins and Beckins, go down the back straightaway once more. So yes, Decoy has come into the pits as we anticipated. Through the final chicane, this is where one of those areas where the Ferrari has shown a lot of strength. And Avocado is on fresher tires, but has not yet been able to really close in on Dindu. So where are they going to be in relation to Decoy? Decoy is out of the pits, coming through turn 1, while Dindu's clear without too much issue. What of Avocado? Avocado also clears Decoy without too much issue. But Decoy will have the tire advantage to the end of this. Well, that's, again, it's 25 minutes left. It's going to be really interesting to see how this turns out. Decoy runs in 5th, tucked up behind, well, not tucked up, but a little bit behind Avocado. Also, Surf is a little bit behind, but Surf has just not had quite the same pace that Decoy or Avocado have had. They are on a different strategy, but again, I think right now, the big thing is going to be Dindu. Can he make his tires go to the end, or is he going to commit to another pit stop? Well, with 32% on those tires, I think that makes it pretty obvious he is going to be committing to one more stop, probably around the 15 minutes to go mark. For Avocado, though, what tire compound is he on? He's at 15 already, but he has a lot of fuel in. I wonder if Avocado is going to go for something like mediums or maybe even hards just to try and eke this out. It's a bold strategy. Let's see how it turns out. But while our top 2 positions of Green and Beats are basically solidified, it is a confuzzling puzzle strategy on who's going to be 3rd. Once more, I take a look at Bradders, who is on a much, much different strategy, minimizing his time in pit lane. I don't know if he's on hards or mediums, but Bradders looks like he may have the tires to go to the end, but he is being pressured by Hillbilly behind him right now. One last thing to look at. Bradders is still one of only 3 drivers who do not have time penalties against him. And that could play big dividends when you look at the fact that everyone ahead has and behind him have time penalties. With that in mind, I'm going to knock out an ad break, and then afterwards we should be good to follow this race to the end. Don't go away. We'll be back shortly here. Welcome back to Silverstone. One of my favorite things in racing are strategy battles, because it's something you can watch and keep your eye on as they play out across the entire event. But when you come to the last fifth of a race or so, the strategies ideally all converge, and you see a good fight for position at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, that seems to be the case that we're looking at here for the third position. Dindu likely has one more pit stop to make, and will likely throw on the soft tires. Avocado, it's not known if he's going to make an 8th pit stop or not, or if he's going to drag these tires to the end. Decoy is in 5th position, and I think Decoy does not have to worry about tires to the end, but I think that may have come off the back of him running a harder medium tire compound. So Dindu, he may have 3rd now, maybe in clean air now, but he will likely have to pit and then make a bonsai run to try and steal 3rd in the closing minutes of this event. ESV Green has put everyone up to 16th, the lap down. 15th is the first driver still on the lead lap, and even that is not going to last very long as SR Ziani is about to go a lap down. We don't know if our leaders are going to make another stop, but I imagine that both Green and Beats will make one more stop. But I don't know about Avocado and Decoy. I'm pretty sure Avocado will make a stop. Decoy's a little bit more up in the air. Decoy's been matching Green on pit stops most of the time. But, Green's in a position that he can afford to pit without struggling too much. It would just hurt his overall distance a little bit. But for Decoy, he is legitimately fighting for position here. Fighting for what could be 3rd. He may have to try something radical to get this position. Avocado is right there on just barely in the draft of Dindu. But he's not really making any moves. Again, we know Dindu is going to have to be pitting sooner rather than later. And we assume that Avocado will be also, as Avocado has been probably the most aggressive driver when it comes to tire life this entire run, this entire stint. They'll likely only pit with about a lap between each other, but they may make the overtake. Avocado might make an overtake for 3rd before they come into the pits here. Dindu, is now under siege from Avocado. Ferrari versus Chevrolet for the third position here. Bit of a slide by Avocado, but Dindu holds station. Wow, that was... just walked by Dindu as if Dindu was standing still. Goodness. Well. Okay. And now Dindu has to deal with Decoy behind, so that may have settled it. Avocado, despite having made an entire extra stop compared to everyone else, seems to just have the outright bleeding pace to make this stick. Dindu will likely be pitting this lap. Yep, he is pitting this time by. And he'll, whatever tires he gets onto, which I imagine will be soft, he'll have to make it last to the end of this event. And this also means that Avocado has actually opened the gap on Decoy just a little bit. But we know Avocado will have to pit again. For Decoy, it's a lot more iffy. And for Bradders, it is also pretty iffy. Again, we look at Decoy, tire life, 38%. If he does not pit, just assuming that he doubles the current tires, he would be at nearly 80% at the end of this. That's a lot of time lost. And then I look at, that's Ardno. And we look at Bradders here. He's at 50%. Bradders might just go ahead and pit a 6th time to throw on softs. Again, I can guarantee you Avocado is going to be pitting. I don't know about Decoy. How far is Decoy willing to push it? He has mashed green or race leader on pit stops every single time thus far. Ewanard Turk coming into the pits, so now everyone to 14th will have gone a lap down. And JSR Ash, who had that spin earlier, despite having the pace to keep up with the top 5, now at risk of going a lap down. So yeah, Green and to a lesser extent Beats have just absolutely been on their own mission today. Silent L also coming into the pits this time by. Decoy trying to close in on Avocado. Feature doesn't work. Okay. Oh, Decoy has caught Avocado. Can he do anything with him, though? It's one thing to catch. It's another thing to pass. Out the back of the Chevrolet that's currently in 3rd. Mercedes tucked up behind. Gets really, really close here in the hairpin in Sector 2. Well, I can audibly hear Avocado's tires screaming in agony. There we are, Decoy's gain alongside. Almost contact into Maggots and Beckett's. Mercedes backs out just a little bit. Trying to set up for a good run coming out of here. Green and Beats pit on the exact same lap this time. So is this going to be what decides it? Will we see these two pit at the same time now? Here comes Decoy. He's on the outside of Avocado. Heavy under braking. He's trying to go around the outside. He does. He'll cut down. He gets the position with an outside overtake. And now Decoy and Avocado both coming to the pit lane. I imagine Bradders will be coming this lap as well, as his tires have also seen some fall off. So it's Bratters Payne at the same time as the drivers ahead. This basically knocks Bratters out of contention for a fight for third. It is going to be Decoy versus Avocado. And then maybe Dindu, depending on where Dindu ends up in relation to Decoy and Avocado after this pit stop. Through the final chicane, but already Decoy and Avocado are moving down pit lane. I think Dindu does, no, there's no way for Dindu to make this work. His tires are already worse off, and he is well behind. He might be able to close down on the duo, but yeah, Dindu is out of it. So Avocado trying to make an 8-stop strategy work. 8 stop, and again, it's not like you've done the entire 2 hours yet. Avocado is trying to make an 8-stop strategy work. He's basically pitting 8 times in 105 minutes. That's like 4 times in 52 minutes. It's like twice. Yeah, Avocado's basically pitting once every 13 minutes, roughly. That's not exact, but that's gets you roughly to the numbers. I mean, he's made something work with it. Graviator abandoned the all-medium, the all-hard strategy. He's made a 4th pit stop. Likely went medium-medium here in this final stint. Or soft-soft in this final stint. But he is currently 14th. Thing is, he is still going to end up finishing a lap down, well, no, he might not finish a lap down, actually. We'll see. KSR Ash has recovered to 12th. There's also this little fight here between Dindu and Bratters. Bratters has actually ended up ahead of Surf. So I'm sorry, that is not Dindu, that is Surf. So Bratters has beaten everyone on what had been the main strategy except for Dindu. That is Airlid, who is just a little bit behind Surf, but not in a position to do anything. Not yet. Although if Surf is tucked up for too long behind Bratters, that might change. Avocado has gotten by Decoy. I didn't think this would happen, but it has changed here for the 3rd place position. You know these drivers should be on roughly the same tires and same fuel, although Avocado has been burning through his rubber faster than Decoy. Decoy's got to run. Comes to the inside of Avocado. Neck and neck for position. Avocado slides the rear of that Chevrolet out. Gets offline. But he still holds the inside, which denies Decoy a chance to make it stick on the outside. The Chevy holds 3rd for the moment.
Race ends in 10 minutes.
Thank you, game. It's not like we didn't have a timer to see. Decoy still tucked up behind Avocado. Nose to tail. All right, and now they come into the Maggots and Beckett section again. So Avocado has it, but Decoy is not letting him get away. Dindu is a long ways back. So he is not going to be a factor in this fight. It is Decoy versus Avocado. It seems to me like just maximizing the softs were the way to go. Just don't bother with the medium tires at all. Just bang out laps on softs the entire time through. Because at the way that's looking, top 5 finishers are all going to be drivers who just maximize the amount of time they spent on soft tires. And depending on how this fight goes between Bratters and Surf, it might even be more than that. In fact, honestly, 10 of our top 11 finishers all on just soft tires through the entire event by the looks of it. Just lap time matters so much more than minimizing time in the pits, it appears. And that might be because of the angle of pit lane, because pit lane basically lets you cut the final chicane you don't lose nearly as much time being in pit road here as you would at, say, Long Beach or, what's a better game? Oh, Road America, for instance. And that might be the main reason why being on the softs matters so much. Because already when you're in pit lane here, you're not on pit lane as long over a lap as you would be on most other circuits. So just go hard on the softs. You're not bleeding that much time out. And Avocado, who runs in third, is really taking that to heart. He has pitted 8 times in this event, basically pitting once every 13 minutes. Unbelievable. That kind of drive. Again, when we're done with this stint here, I will try to reach out to our top 3 finishers and a select handful of others, try to see what they have to say about the event before we get underway. But I will be here to broadcast stint 2 of this as well. A different person will be covering stint 3. There will be a bit of a gap between stint 1s and 2s, though. Avocado is not pulling away from Decoy. If anything, Decoy seems to be stronger now that he's behind Avocado. The big thing, though, is that I'm looking at the distance penalties now. Here we are near the end of this event, and distance penalties is what it comes down to for these positions. Well, Avocado, 0.102, Decoy, 0.158. Avocado has the advantage right now. And Dindu is not close enough to do anything. He is better than both of them on distance penalties, but he is not close enough to capitalize. At the moment, Decoy might be faster, might even be able to make the move, but if he's going to be half a tenth behind Avocado, do the math, a mile is 5,280 feet. A tenth of a mile is 528 feet. Here comes the move for third. Decoy to the inside, sails by without issue. Avocado's going to try and cross over, bounces over the curbs, kills his momentum. So Decoy's got it. But anyways, 528 feet is a tenth of a mile. Cut that in half, because that's roughly the difference in time penalty between Decoy and Avocado. That would be 264 feet is roughly the distance that Decoy has to be ahead of Avocado at the end here to make this work. Onto the back straightaway once again. Decoy holding the position. Avocado seems to be faster early on, but as the run goes on, he gets so much more aggressive, burns his tires up. It's one of the reasons why I've seen him do this 8-stop strategy. He struggles to make the tires last, and here in these closing moments, it looks like that might be what costs him a third-place finish. But again, if Avocado can just stay tucked. Thank you, game. It's not like there was a timer for me to see. If Avocado can stay tucked under the rear wing of Decoy to the end of this, though, it may not matter. He might get third back based off of penalty count back. But he needs to make the tires last in order to do so. It is basically completely clean track ahead for this duo to the end of this. Only 2 drivers do not have time penalties at this point. P1R Turk in 14th, who is about to go a lap down, and NWR Bradders, who is in 6th. Again, ESV Green started up front, didn't lead in the early parts. He spent a lot of time fighting for second place, but once the lead group started spreading out after the first round of pit stops, pace came into play, and Green has been in a zone of his own today on sheer pace. NDL Beats led a good chunk of the race early on, but just has not been able to keep up with Green. Green passed him on track on merit. He just walked away. Beats is going to comfortably come home second, though, I imagine. Unless something absolutely bizarre happens here. Right now, this duo fighting for third, they're about a half a lap down compared to your race leader. Only about 3.5 minutes left as this duo fighting for third goes through Maggots and Beckett's for Avocado. He doesn't have to make any big moves. He can do the Lewis Hamilton 2019 Montreal stat. Just hang out behind somebody who has a time penalty. It's one of the most aggravating, most frustrating things to watch from our perspective as fans or commentators. But it is one of the simplest and easiest ways to make something happen if you're a driver. But I'm sure Avocado has... Well, I don't know if Avocado has pride enough to actually go for the move if he needs to. Decoy is now up the distance penalty. He has the .184 here near the end of this. So yeah, this is over now. Avocado does not need to make the move. As Decoy now creeping up on what could be a fifth. Right now is at a sixth of a mile penalty, while Avocado is still only at a tenth of a mile. So yeah, Avocado way better off on time penalties right now. It seems like this fight is basically over unless Avocado suddenly adds a huge chunk to his own penalties. Fight for fifth. As Bradders is trying... Oh, wait, did Avocado get by Decoy? No, he is not. Game's just trying to psych me out for something that's not happened. Oh, but Avocado hits Decoy in the rear under braking. The Mercedes holds line. The Avocado Chevrolet slides around a little bit more, though. But anyways, there is a fight for fifth, though. Dindu holding station over Bradders just barely. And for Dindu, this has got to be frustrating because he only has .088 miles of penalty. But Bradders has nothing. Dindu has like only 400 feet worth of foot penalty, but Bradders is right there. Bradders could steal a top 5, partially off of strategy, but it looks more like it will come down to penalties. Bradders has not set a foot run, or I guess a wheel run, all day long. They only have about this lap and a little bit of the next lap, and if Bradders doesn't suddenly add any distance penalty to himself, he's gonna steal 5th. Avocado still tucked up behind Decoy. No need to make any moves. Decoy not able to pull away from Avocado unless something massive happens. Our top 3 are decided. It will be Green, Beats, and Avocado on the impossible 8-stop strategy. 1 minute left. And the fight for 5th goes into the chicane. Bradders hits Dindu in the rear, pushes him offline, gets the bit. Dindu is really struggling. Again, Dindu is trying to stretch tires to really extreme distance compared to Bradders, who's a little bit more conservative when it comes to his tire strap. As H-Ware Freitas just a little bit behind this duo right now. Bradders follows Dindu. Big slide by Dindu. Bradders coming around the outside in turn 3. Neck and neck with less than 30 seconds left is that all it takes. Bradders has the inside. Dindu's trying to cross over. He can't. Bradders blocks him. Bradders is through up in the 5th. All right. On to the the first of the 2 back straightaways. Dindu has the draft. Does he go for a huge dive? He is going for a huge dive. He shoots to the inside. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds. It won't matter. Bradders has no penalties. He will take 5th. And the session is over. Time's up. Over. Plow. And that is your final results. We're going to knock out an ad break here, and then when we come back, we'll reach out and try to get interviews from some of our top finishers in today's event. But an incredible and interesting fight for 3rd in strategy and for 5th to the end of this. Don't go away. We'll be back shortly with interviews, assuming drivers are willing to be interviewed. All right, well, I got at least one person coming into the party here. Avocado, are you able to hear me? All right. The party should have an option to include your audio for post-race interview.
Video and broadcast. Yeah, there we go.
All right, cool. Get just a little bit because Twitch is cycling through an ad, so I'll do this in just a moment.
Okie doke.
I don't know if anyone else is going to be willing to jump in here or not.
All good.
All right. Welcome back to Silverstone as we have ended stint 1 of 3 here for the SEC Enduros here at Silverstone. In the party with us right now is Indiel Avocado, our third place finisher in our only Chevrolet. Avocado, I just want to say that's probably one of the most interesting drives to a podium I've ever seen. The 8-stop strategy. You were basically pitting on average once every 13 minutes. And on top of that, you used time, or I guess distance penalties to take home this final podium spot. Walk us through that race from your perspective.
Well, I came in as a last-minute sub, actually. I was going to do second stint, but so I came in kind of with cold hands for the first stint here in the morning. And early on, I decided I think I should just push a couple extra laps on softs, and just not go on mediums and just see what I can do. I had a really, really good undercut on the TNR guys after I made a little error in the beginning, and that allowed me to just run in clean air for a really long time until I caught up to Decoy. So that was huge. I think that was the move of the race, and then I could just push a few extra laps on softs and bring it home.
I mean, you say you pushed a few extra laps on softs, but from our perspective, it did not look like you were pushing the softs to go anything. It looked like you were just burn, change, burn, change, like.
Yeah. There was, I think, a couple of stints in there where I lost like 2 seconds on the last lap. But besides that, I knew everyone was going to do that, and the people on mediums could. While they didn't have to push, they were losing a little bit through each lap. So it was kind of just a differing strategy there. So I had to push.
All right, you're also the only Chevrolet to show up for this stint here, at least in this lobby. Maybe in a lower lobby there were other Chevys. But with that in mind, who is your teammate that's going to be driving the Chevrolet in stint 2? Since it's not you, obviously.
Yeah, Cavatro swapping in for me now for stint 2, because he wasn't home earlier for stint 1. So he'll be hopping into the Chevy. I'm surprised there's not more Chevys, but maybe after a car switch is allowed, we'll see a couple more.
I mean, to be fair, you are the only non-German manufacturer in the top 5, and there are only 2 non-German manufacturers in the top 7. Mercedes, Porsches, and Audis were far and away the dominant car. I think this may be more of a case of an aggressive strategy and some clever thinking made a underperforming car pull out a good result. But anyways, thanks, Avocado, for jumping in and talking with us. We look forward to seeing what you can do in the future. With that in mind, since no one else has been able to jump in and talk with us, that will wrap up our broadcast for Stint 1. But in about, looking at the time, maybe about 40 or so minutes, we'll be back to start broadcast. Oh, no, take that back. Someone else just jumped in. NWR Bradders has just jumped into the party. Now everyone is jumping in. All right, cool. NWR Bradders, can you hear me? Hello. In the Xbox party, there should be an option, like a little checkbox to include audio for broadcast. Go ahead and hit that.
Testing. Should be ticked.
All right, cool. All right, we'll go ahead and talk with NWR Bradders now, who came home 5th. Bradders, very interesting day for you. Like Avocado, you weren't on a traditional strategy, but you pulled out something, pitting way less than everyone else, using the lack of distance penalties altogether to steal a top 5 finish in the end. What do you have to say about that run from your perspective?
Originally, I was going to go all mediums because I thought that was going to be the strat to use, but I very quickly realised it wasn't. So I was trying to do some maths while driving around, and I worked out around 42 minutes if I pit for softs, I could do 2 more stops on softs and it'd get me to the end, which seemed to work out because everybody else was struggling towards the end on tyres, and I just managed to get in some positions that I'd lost early on.
Well, it seemed to work out pretty fantastic to me. I did look like, at one point, you may have had the pace to steal a third. That didn't work out, but still, a top 5 is pretty solid. I do have to ask, who's going to be filling in for this car in Stint 2?
So Stint 2 and 3 will be NWR Zula.
All right. We'll keep an eye on and see if Zula can make it another top 5 finish for you in that Mercedes. Thanks for jumping in and talking with us, Bratters. And now I want to go ahead and talk with our stint winner, ESV Green. Green, go ahead, include your audio in the Xbox party. You started up front, didn't lead a bunch of laps right out of the gate, but that was a gigantic gap you pulled on the field by the end. What do you have to say about your result out there today?
Yeah, so we worked out before the race that if we just ran mediums for a single stint, then just keep with the slipstream and then just go softs all the way until the end, it would line up pretty nicely and we'd dodge a pit stop. So, like compared to the 8-stop strat that other drivers did, I think Avo did that. So yeah,
Avocado was the only one who did the 8-stop.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, like it just worked out nicely. Just stayed in the slipstream. Just tried to like hold people up a little bit. You know, have fun with it. Just trying to keep everyone close. I know Beats escaped very early, so I had to put in a little bit more pace to make sure that gap doesn't increase a lot. So yeah, then onto the soft stints. Some nice consistency got me past Beats. Pretty nice overtake, I think. I think it was a pretty nice overtake, if I don't say so myself. So yeah.
Well, we caught it on stream,
watch
so
the replay on that.
yeah, we did catch it on stream, so you can definitely go back and make your own judgment again. But it looked like it was a pretty clean, respectable, and more than anything else, just confident overtake from my perspective. So.
Yeah, it was really fun racing with Beats for that bit. Yeah. So yeah, but fun overtaking the traffic as well. It's always like nice having respectful back markers, not doing anything silly. So yeah, really fun race. And Bolt's gonna continue first in 2.
All right, we'll be
hopefully
looking to see.
You can continue the same.
Yeah. But anyways, I will go ahead and say one more thing just to really send home to everyone who's not aware. Green's winning distance in the end was over half a mile. It was almost 3/5 of a mile at that. Like, this is a really, really stunning run. I didn't put a lot of emphasis on it, but like the gap that Green pulled on Beats was gigantic. And then your distance over Avocado was like about half a lap and some change as well. It's just like outstanding drive out there, mate. I cannot stress that enough. But anyways, thanks for jumping in and talking with us, and we'll keep an eye on your teammate. See if ESV can go back-to-back here in the first 2 stints for SEC's Silverstone event.
Thanks, Tid.
Yep. With that in mind, we will wrap up our broadcast here from Silverstone. I've been your host, Insaneleader13. Thank you very much for joining us. Farewell and goodbye. All right, thank goodness. I get a little bit of a break now.